The eyeball consists of three cords, which are the fibrous cord, the vascular pigmented cord, and the nervous cord. The fibrous cord is made up of a posterior opaque part, the sclera, and the anterior transparent part, the cornea. The opaque sclera is composed of dense fibrous tissue and is white. Posteriorly it is pierced by the optic nerve and is fused with the dural sheath of that nerve. The area of the sclera that is pierced by the nerve fibers of the optic nerve is called the lamina cribrosa. The sclera is also pierced by the ciliary arteries, veins, and nerves. The sclera is directly continuous in front with the cornea at the cornea-scleral junction, or limbus. The transparent cornea is largely responsible for the refraction of the light entering the eye. It is avascular and is nourished by diffusion from the aqueous humor and from the capillaries on its edge. The vascular pigmented cord consists from behind toward of the choroid, the ciliary body, and the iris. The choroid is composed of an outer pigmented layer and inner, highly vascular layer. The ciliary body is continuous posteriorly with the choroid, and anteriorly it lies behind the peripheral margin of the iris. It is composed of the ciliary ring, ciliary processes, and the ciliary muscle, here inside. The iris is a thin, contractile pigmented diaphragm with a central aperture, the pupil. It is suspended in the aqueous humor between the cornea and lens. The periphery of the iris is attached to the anterior surface of the ciliary body. It divides the space between the lens and cornea into an anterior and posterior chambers. The sphincter papillae is arranged around the margin of the pupil. The dilator papillae lies on the periphery and close to the posterior surface of the iris. The retina consists of an outer pigmented layer and an inner nervous layer. Its outer surface is in contact with the choroid, and its inner surface is in contact with the vitreous body. At the center of the posterior part of the retina is an oval yellowish area, the macula lutea, which is the area of retina for the most distinct vision. It has a central depression, fovea centralis. The optic nerve leaves the retina about 3 mm to the medial side of the macula lutea by the optic disc. The optic disc is slightly depressed at its center. There it is pierced by the central artery of the retina. Here it is. At the optic disc is a complete absence of rods and cones, so that it is insensitive to the light and is referred to us as the blind spot. The contents of eyeball consist of the aqueous humor, vitreous body, and the lens. The aqueous humor is a clear fluid that fills the anterior and posterior chambers of the eyeball. It is produced by the ciliary processes and enters the posterior chamber behind the iris first. Then it flows into the anterior chamber through the pupil and is drained away through the spaces at the iridocorneal angle. Obstruction to the draining of the aqueous humor results in a rise in intraocular pressure called glaucoma. The vitreous body fills the eyeball behind the lens and is a transparent gel. It supports the posterior surface of the lens and assists in holding the neural part of the retina against the pigmented part of the retina. The lens is a transparent biconvex structure enclosed in a transparent capsule. It is situated behind the iris and in front of the vitreous body and is encircled by the ciliary processes. The equatorial region or circumference of the lens is attached to the ciliary processes of the ciliary body by the tiny suspensory ligaments. They are not marked on this model.